Last video we added a spike ball in that kills our player and restarts the level. But our spike ball's not the most exciting, it's stationary and our player just has to avoid it. What we're going to do in this video is create 3 unique types of enemies that we can include. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on our spike ball and I'm going to clone it to create spike 1, 2 and 3. So starting with spike number 1, we're going to add a new behavior to it. And this behavior is going to be down as sign. Sign allows us to move the object in a particular way. So let's make this one a little bit smaller. Let's put it over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that it's going to move horizontally, so left and right. Sine wave means it's going to move slowly, so when it gets to the end it's going to slow down, then pick up speed once it goes the other direction. You can change this to be slightly different, so sawtooth means it will get to the end and then teleport back. Square means that it won't move slowly when it gets to the end, it's more jagged, it just gets to the end, moves straight back again. Period is how long it takes it to move from one end to the other and back again. And magnitude is how far it's moving. So let's move it by 200 pixels. So this is our first enemy. So let's look at this one first. So you see that it moves back and forth. And then again, if our player touches it, the level restarts. So you can create some really tight, narrow hallways that the player has to time their movement to get in between the hallway while the spike is moving. Let's go with spike number 2. This one we're going to give it a slightly different behavior. So I'm going to right click, edit behavior, add a brand new behavior to it. And this one we're going to go down and we're going to give it rotate. So this is just going to make the spike rotate round. And why this doesn't add an extra level of challenge, this just makes the spike a bit more interesting. Now the spike's not stationary, it's spinning, it makes it seem a bit more dangerous. If you're wondering, we can also add this behavior to our sign as well. So now this one is moving and spinning. So again, it just adds that little bit more danger to it. And we can increase the speed if we want to make that a little bit quicker. So currently the speed is going at 180. If we were to do this at say 500, this will be spinning much faster. So it appears to be a lot more dangerous. So we've got a couple of options there. Last one we're going to look at, spike number 3. I'm going to place spike number 3 in. And we're going to add a new behavior to this one. And this one's going to be called orbit. So we're going to go down to orbit. And this one's going to circle a particular area. So with orbit, we can get this to match rotation. So this will also rotate. And we can get this to rotate. So primary rotation is going to be the primary axis, so up and down, how much it's going to move by. Secondary is going to be 100, so that's going to be its left and right. So let's put them to 200 by 200, and let's see what this one does. So you'll see that this one's now spinning around in a circle. I'll try to get as close as I can without it killing me. There we go, and it's just going to move round and round, like so. Now you notice that this one doesn't actually kill me. And the reason for that is we're not actually checking that for our collisions. So how do we do that? Well, we could add a brand new event, or we could add another condition. So we can say that if spike 2 is overlapping another object, such as our player, and then we can do the same again, so we can add another condition. And we can say, is overlapping another object, player. If any of these happen, then destroy the player. So let's test this first, let's make sure it works. It does not work. And you'll see that our first spike does not work either. That's because we need to do a slight change with this. What we've done now is we've turned this into what's called an AND block. So this only happens if the player happens to touch all 3 of these all at the same time. We don't want that, so we're going to right click and we're going to make it an OR block instead. Now it's going to check if the player is doing any of these and it will destroy the player. So let's test it once more. And we'll go for our spinning orbit and it restarts. So now we've got something quite unique. We've got 3 different enemies. We can add multiple behaviors to these enemies, so you can make this orbit, rotate and move left and right. This will be quite a very difficult enemy to predict. But what's really good is to have a mixture of different unique types of enemies to make the game feel a bit more interesting. You'd also want to give these different designs so the player is very, very clear on, okay, this is one that just spins, this is one that moves left and right, this is one that orbits an area.